Hello, 大家好. Hi everyone, good afternoon. It's late in the day, so I hope you still have the energies to hear what I have to share about infrastructure today. My name is Sherry. I'm one of the founding engineers at Aptos Labs. Today, I'm very excited to be here to share with you the Aptos vision, building the global trading engine. At Aptos, we believe one fundamental truth. The whole world global economy is moving on-chain. Either it's traditional currencies, digital assets, data, or resources. They will travel through the global blockchain rails and then creating a very efficient economic system. And Aptos is working really hard bringing the world's economy on-chain. So what we have done so far, if you look at the landscape, Aptos is one of the only blockchains to support the top 3 major stablecoins by market cap, including USDT, USDCs, and USDE, hitting over 1 billion market cap in a matter of months. There were also over $300 million worth of RWA total values are being minted on-chain on Aptos, minted backed by very well-known entities, including Franklin Templeton's, BlackRock's, Brevan Howard's, Apollo, and way more. The Aptos Foundation also has already committed over $200 million in new grants and investment focused on the ecosystem growth, finding next generations of founders, projects to really build on this global trading engine. Beyond this, what else we've been doing on the core blockchain level? Aptos is working hard on engineering the blockchain endgame. There is numerous amount of innovations are coming to Aptos in the monthly kind of a cadence. In the past few months, we announced Raptor, which is the most innovative blockchain consensus implementation, incorporating very advanced DAG technologies. And simply put, multiple validators can propose and agree on transactions in parallel rather than sequentially, but not compromising any on the security guarantees and also the resiliency. Beyond the consensus protocol itself, we also redesigned the transaction pipeline by concurrently overlapping consensus, execution, and a storage process, extracting maximum parallelism and then providing the best-in-class user latency. On top of those, we also have Block SDM v2, which enhance Aptos' parallel execution engine, scaling efficiently with very increased cores. This network can then handle way further greater transaction volumes, even on the single validator nodes. After we upgraded our consensus protocol on the parallel execution engine, we also really recently introduced Consensus Observer, which is a novel data dissemination techniques that reduce the block synchronization time and transaction latency. This allows Aptos RPC nodes to receive block data earlier and then process blocks in parallel with validator nodes. What does this mean? That means like on Aptos full nodes can almost provide the same levels of latency as the validator nodes. That allowed the end-to-end user experience to be the most optimal and then provide sub-second latency to the user P2P transactions. On the storage level, we're also working on the tiered storage, which provides pretty much caching layer and then provides fastest I/O performance even with billions of stake items. Along with our sharded DB storage is no longer a bottleneck on Aptos blockchain anymore. And on top of that, we also have execution pool, which acts as a buffer between consensus and the execution stage, further reduce the latencies to more like optimized level. With sharding, we also work on tackle the notorious bottlenecks of the blockchain execution and then move the users closer to infinite scalability. if you read the sharding recent the white paper, sharding really just like solved the execution bottlenecks and then enable theoretically over 1 million transactions happening in the futures of Aptos blockchain. So all of those technologies and innovations, they are not only validated on the Aptos blockchain, but what's more, it's being adopted across the entire industry. Aptos tag can be found among all over the place, across the L1s, L2s, lots of the peoples and the blockchains adopting Block SDM v1. The Move smart contract language developer ecosystem is one of the most fastest growing developer ecosystem among the Web3 space as well. As people still trying to catching up to the Aptos v1 technology, Aptos is moving forward. Like I mentioned earlier, as we have the Block SDM being adopted among different L1s and L2s, we're working on v2 version of this, which will be scaling the number of calls for parallelization from 16 to 32 to the 256, which is like 8 times or 10 times more of a scalability that doubling, tripling, and then 10 times amount of the execution speed that we can do on the blockchain level. And Aptos is yet another innovation that minimizes the blockchain latency, which reduces it by up to 40%, even under the most highest throughput happening on chain. So we have tested in reality that Aptos can still maintain the sub-second latency even when the chain is handling over 20,000 transactions per second. Aptos really drive down the parallelizations and then pretty much optimizing head to toe for every component on the blockchain level. However, there is way more we're trying to build on the framework level to enable different primitives and then enable the next generations of very complex use cases. We're going to build natively in the framework level for the club, the central limit order book, which will be the powerful liquidity engine driving the hypergrowth in the Aptos DeFi ecosystem. On top of that, we also have a feature called reordered transaction that allows smart contract engineers to define the sequencing numbers on a level higher than the priority fee market. This, you can imagine, for example, the cancel orders would always be placed ahead of the placing order, allowing makers to price orders more competitively with tighter spreads, knowing that they will not be exposed to excessive amount of risk. Me personally, there's 2 more features I'm mostly excited about, which is the scheduled transactions and cross-chain accounts. Scheduled transaction allows for completely on-chain and an automated transaction submission, triggered either by events, for example, the price movement, or on a precise timestamps that are happening on-chain. This allows us to really imagining a lot of different kind of applications and things that can be built fully on the blockchain level without even requiring a backend anymore. You can imagine this as allowing cron jobs eventually on the blockchain level. Cross-chain account itself pretty much allow users to just use their existing Solana account, Ethereum account, and then directly trade on Aptos stacks without even have to think about downloading a wallet, creating accounts, and then funding the wallets anymore. So this is gonna provide really seamless user experience for onboarding into Aptos ecosystem. Doubling down on the trading experience, what we're trying to do here is Aptos is essentially the fastest L1s out there. Not even any L2s can compete to the levels of like speed that we can provide. It is the fastest block times in production, which we envision it's going to be less than 100 milliseconds in 2025, and then theoretically very optimized consensus protocol. Along with Aptos, it's setting a new standards in low latency for high load workload in the blockchain space. And the zero latency event-driven transaction, which will be empowered by the scheduled transaction that occurs after event take place, when like placing automatically buy certain assets when the price move above certain threshold or lowering towards the threshold. So you can imagine builders, developers can really start building very complex and interesting applications with those primitives. Furthermore, Aptos it's the most cheapest blockchain out there. Transacting stablecoins is the cheapest on Aptos. And that's like magnitudes cheaper than any of our competitors existing today. We're talking about 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, or 10,000 times cheaper. It's the magnitudes that nowhere can compare, and it's the most smooth blockchains to move payments, to do stablecoin transactions, and to do P2P transactions. With this level of a cost and a speed, you can imagine microfinancing, micropayments, or eventually streaming your payrolls on Aptos is possible. Because like imagining when you're working, every second get paid because you are working. And then that's like costing a company maybe $10 per month to processing all that streaming transactions on chain. We're doubling down further even on the developer experience by bringing all different levels of like features on chain, along with account abstractions, permission signers, and stateless account. Account abstraction plus permission signer eventually allow builders to build blind signing, which enables the trading experience of like no more clicking, no more proving transactions again and over and again. And a stateless account would be further reducing the cost of doing transactions and then doing trading activities. With all those amazing features plus Aptos Keyless, which is a technology built upon zero knowledge proof, with the dark magics of like cryptographies, you can essentially use your Google account as your blockchain account. So say no more to private keys, to mnemonics, which is insane for any normal users to handle. You can imagine the future would be any of the OpenID accounts, like your Facebook account, your Apple account, or your Google account, is equivalent to your blockchain account. This reduces the chances of user locking their assets, losing their access, losing their keys, and then providing a better, smoother user experience for onboarding into Web3 space. So essentially at Aptos, we believe infrastructure is a solved problem. And then we're going to focus a lot more on building innovative features and primitives on our blockchain to enable the next generations of trading products and then trading experience. At Aptos, this vision is really ambitious but clear. We're pushing the boundaries of what's possible on a blockchain-based technology, but continues to commit it into user experience and then real-world utilities. And Aptos, we're not only just building communities or products or infrastructure. What we're really doing is building the global trading engine that empowers the future of finance. Slowly, then all at once. Thank you.